Recently, I have broken a bit of a personal barrier. I've managed to get my first sub-8 average of 5 with csTimer. I don't know if I'm the only person to do this or not, but I'm pretty proud of doing it, and I'm also more proud of the fact that I was able to reconstruct all 5 of the solves so I can actually put this video out and share them with you now and show everyone what sub-8 csTimer looks like, so let's just get into it.
Alright, before we get into this video, I'd like to apologise in advance for any rough sniffling you might hear. I'm fighting demons right now. Fighting for my goddamn life out here these days, but it's alright, let's get these recons done. So the first scramble in my average of 5 goes like this. Remember this, we have a 6 flip on the green-blue axis, 3 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. And if we rotate over, we have an 8 flip on this axis, these 3, these 2, this 2, these 2. I choose to take the green-blue axis 6 flip, and I'm choosing to do blue front, white cross here, so an X2 from the start. I can set up 4 on the back and solve them with L and then a B move. This also puts this green crosshatch here opposite the blue, effectively making a premature line. The B move that I choose to do is B prime, as it aligns the orange crosshatch with its center. From here we have the red crosshatch here and this EO case, which I'm going to solve with F, R prime, F. This aligns the red crosshatch up to its center here, so now I just need to do R, D prime, and we have the solve line and 2 crosshatches here, R2, L prime, and here's our first pair. While this first pair is relatively obvious, I also instantly locked onto this pair, so I will be tracking it while executing this, allowing me to go right to that as well. Anyone familiar with my solving style knows that I like to do front right open, so this is the only pair choice left for me. I get this TSLE case, which is pretty easy to recognise, but the algorithm is a little bit long. It's a back anti-soon U prime, RUR prime, which gives me instantly at recognition angle this TTL, which is quite spammable, and as well the AF prediction for this case, these headlights will stay in the same place, so I'll need to do a U prime. A 56 move solution, that's an 8.49 second solve. Now we move to the second solve, and if there's any solve that you really shouldn't learn from, it's probably this one, because this one was an 11.3. Either way, here is the scramble. Once again, we have a 6 flip here in the blue-green orientation with these 3 and these 3. And if we rotate on over, we will have an 8 flip with these 3 in the back, this one here, and these 4. I choose to take the green-blue axis, and I choose once again to do red front, white cross, and I do a 11 move EO cross solution. Prepare yourself. If we do UL, we align these 3 cross edges on the back. However, doing a B prime here will orient the 4 edges, but it will place this opposite center and these correct adjacent their centers. Additionally, the L will put this cross edge into here. This will be solved in due time. The remaining EO is here and here, which we do with FRF prime, which gives us this awful case on the D layer, which I solve by bringing up this orange edge here, replacing the blue edge in the back with the correct green one, bringing the cross back over, and putting in the blue one. This is an 11 mover abomination. What makes this worse is that there was a 7 mover in scramble orientation that I just didn't see. Green to the front, blue to the back, EO into here, 3 up onto the back, B will bring the bad edge down to here. We can do L2, F to solve here, B2 to solve this, 7 mover in scramble orientation. Either way, with EO cross finally solved, we can move into the F2L solution. The first pair is once again going to be this orange-green one into back left, like so. This slotted corner here made for easy look ahead into the next pair, as such. Now, in this case, a good pair solution would be something along the lines of RU prime, R prime, and then LU. For this pair, that is not what I did. What I actually did was AUF this corner to up front left, and then LU to L, which is just about the worst U move I could have picked, because U prime would slot this, give me lefty double and sexy, and U would have given me this insert here, which we can easily mirror. But I did U2, then solved this pair, like so. However, the bright side to this janky solution is that because I didn't use any R moves, I preserved the edge that was already in here. The corner happens to be oriented and I just get an anti-soon for TSLE. Which leads to this double bar case here. Which can be predicted because the headlights on both sides here do not move at all, so U2 AOF predicted. Well, quickly moving on from the worst to the best, the third solve of this AO5 was the non-counting fast solve at 6.99, just barely clocking in a sub-7. Here's the scramble. Looking at the scramble, we have a 4 flip on the green-blue axis, as well as a 4 flip on the red-orange axis. I chose to take green-blue out of familiarity. The ear cross was also quite nice. We're going to do another blue front white cross, so X2 rotation. Now, red is at the back here, and the green and blue are actually currently on the correct layers to go in adjacent to it. If you just do like LR2, that would be solved correctly. So if we can put the 4 on the front while preserving this, that would be ideal. We can do this with R, U prime, L, F. The R gets the the blue cross edge out of the way. The L completely solves the green one, brings 4 to the front and orients them with F. Then all that's left to do to solve it is R, D, R, D2. For the third solve in a row, we'll be solving this green and orange pair first. It presents itself quite nicely at front right, so we can do this solution, and while we're doing this corner makes itself quite apparent. So the next thing we're going to do is keyhole this into back right. I know this edge is solved in back right because I haven't seen this edge anywhere else. And if it was somewhere else on the cube, I'd have seen it by now. So U2 D prime, insert the corner and a D move to align the cross again, and it creates this free pair up in the front, nice and obvious for us. We'll just insert as quickly as can. This TSLE case is quite nice, then it takes 2 triggers. We can do an RU R prime and then our U2 R prime. In this TTL case, I can always recognise the AOF because this enormous block does not move at all. Very nice. 40 move solution at a high 5 TPS, that's a 6.9 right there. Moving on to the fourth solve, I'm starting to feel pretty good about my solves, so let's see what I do for this one. So we have an 8 flip on green blue, we have 4 on the back, 1 here and 3 here. We rotate over to red orange, we have a 6 flip. I choose to take the 8 flip and I choose to do it with green front, yellow cross. So what we have is we have the orange and the red cross edges in the D layer on F and B, and we have green and blue already opposite each other. So if we orient the 4 here and align the orange with its cross center with a B prime, we can do R prime to solve this line here and bring 4 to the front, and F prime will align here, D prime solves across, and LR will complete the EO cross. Now, for the first time in the entire AO5, the green-orange pair will not be the first pair. We're actually going to solve red-blue into the back instead. Now we solve green-orange. But instead of doing like the good solution, which would be U prime, I prime, R prime to set up into a free split pair and solve that, we're going to do something else. We're going to break it up with L prime U2 L instead, and then solve this. It's a lot more moves, and it even sets up to a worse next pair. It's what I did in the solve and it just so happened to work out. Obviously for last pair I want to solve back left now, so I'm just going to bring this edge out here and solve it as you would. Now if I just get to last slot and you think this TSLE might just be soon again, you'd be wrong, but I wouldn't blame you. The recognition is a bit similar, but we just have T up here. Either way, the TSLE for this U prime R U2 R prime sets up to this arrow case U R U2 R U2 R U R. Luckily, I land on this lovely TTL case here, which is U2 triple sledge. It's quite easy to recognise the post AOF because you just do U2 and this block here will never change. So even if I don't recognise it here, I can just do this and just watch. I will see this colour is blue from the start. The whole time I'm executing the arrow, I can just sit there staring at the blue, knowing where I have to AOF it afterwards. And now we move into the fifth and final solve in the average. Up until this point in the actual average, I'd been solving not on the GTS 3M, but on the TengYun V2. Because I was feeling whimsical and I just felt like using it to see what would happen. It's not a cube I normally use, I'm too inconsistent with it. After realising that I was on pace for a PB average of 5, I decided to switch out the TengYun V2 for something more reliable. My old Worm 21. And so, to honour that decision, I am gonna use this cube for the reconstruction. So here's the scramble. So the first thing I notice is, holy hell, we have a pre-built block. Normally when I have these, I like to have them on the L or R layers because I find it's a lot easier to preserve them through an EO cross solution. If they're not on FOB, well, I'll have to be moving them for EO. So the first thing I do is move to white cross with, I think it was red front that I did first. And I just saw there was a 4-flip there. So I want to put that in the back because I don't need the visibility on that. So orange front, yeah. So orange front, white cross. So the solution for EO after doing the B prime is just a 2-flip here, which I can solve with R, F prime, R prime, F, which will leave the red cross edge down here. Obviously this won't be disturbed and this won't be disturbed, so I'll just D2, R2, D prime to solve this next to the cross edge that went here. Obviously D2, R2, D prime, solves them both there. L2 to finish this and then insert this last cross edge. So when I was inserting this little piece here, I wanted to make sure the solution did work, so I did look at this and I see this edge come up here. Then when I do the last R2 and this corner appears, I instantly know where its edge is. 6 move F2L pair solution. Obviously, not being someone who likes to solve front right, my last pair has to be these two, which we solve here. We get a lovely 2-trigger TSLE, like so. E prime, and it's one of the rougher TTLs, but it's alright. AUF prediction for this case looks pretty rough given that there's no real landmarks to look at, there's nothing significant here, so I just take the up front right corner, remember where it goes, and in this case it just does a U. So from TTL I look at this and I can notice it's just going to do a U, so it will be solved, and indeed it does get solved. Moving over from the TengYun to the worm for the 5th solve was probably a really good decision. My hands were quite shaky, and I think that kind of stuff on the TengYun V2, where it's a lot more volatile of a cube, it's not as stable, not as reliable, I would have struggled. But I was able to make the switch, fight the nerves, and plan an EO X cross to break out a PB average of 5 and break the sub-8 barrier. With ZZCT of all methods.
Hey look, I'm a YouTuber now, I gotta do all the things. You gotta press the like button, you gotta put a comment, I gotta put the funny numbers up on here, you gotta hit that button as well. Come on!